Yo, what's good, people? Izzy Max here, back again for another VGC Draft League battle. This is week 3. Currently, we are 2-0, performing really well. Super excited for this match. My opponent is Ulrich Masters, and he seems to be running like a Trick Room-esque style of team. You can see there on the layout. And what we brought today is Silvally Electric, Claydol, Vileplume, Flash Fire Ninetales, Alolan Persian, and the Gallade. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in. As you see here, this is the 6 that I brought. That's the 6 he brought. I was really surprised that he actually ended up bringing the Stonejourner and the Crawdaunt. I'm expecting the Crawdaunt to actually be for my Dragapult, which I didn't end up bringing this week. And I'm just going to lead with the standard lead that we usually do. Seems to have good outcomes here recently, which is the Gallade Persian, the beat up strategy. Because he's running Trick Room, this is kind of a physically bulky Gallade, max attack, max HP, I think. You can see our items there. We are running Widelands Vileplume. I'm expecting him to set up the sun, and if he doesn't, Vileplume actually underspeeds. At least I thought it undersped some Pokemon. But he didn't bring the mons that I thought he would, so it wouldn't be outsped by anything. Vileplume's actually the fastest thing out there other than the Stonejourner. And then we are just going to bring the Vileplume and the Silvally in the back. Just as an insurance policy, I was kind of worried about the Araquanid. It doesn't really hit anything super effective on my team other than, of course, the Ninetales, but it is super bulky and can be a big Dynamax threat. But he does end up leading what I thought he would, which would be his Trick Room mode, his Trick Room setters with the follow me into the Trick Room. I already prepped for this. I knew that this was probably going to be his lead. I couldn't really afford for him to set up Trick Room. So I do just go for the taunt on the Dusclops and the fake out into the Togetic so he can't follow me Trick Room. And this actually ends up working out pretty well in our favor. It was basically a wasted turn. He didn't get anything done. I kind of have the initiative now. My team is definitely in the driver's seat. And you'll see here, he's taking a little bit of time. But you'll see here that this goes off without a problem. We were kind of expecting the Dusclops maybe be Mental Herb, just because I do have like 2 or 3 Taunters on my team. But I'm glad we didn't see that. It is just going to be the Eviolite set, which is fine. Gallade really doesn't care all that much. And right here, I thought about maxing the Gallade, but I was afraid of more follow me stuff, and I didn't know if the Dusclops had Will-O-Wisp, because if my Gallade got burned, it's basically useless, and I couldn't really let that happen. So I do end up sitting here for a little bit, but I end up, okay, if he's going to burn something, he's going to burn the Gallade. Let's go into something that doesn't care to be burned. And then I just go for a Snarl here. I almost wanted a Parting Shot, but again, I was afraid of the Torkoal coming in. Because if the Torkoal comes in, I mean, I could put it to sleep if I don't miss, but I needed that special attack to drop. We missed the Dusclops. That's not a big deal. For some reason, he's carrying Brick Break instead of Nightshade. But here we see the Wish, which actually told me that this Togetic has no attacking moves. It's probably Wish, Protect, Follow Me, and it revealed its last move in Game 2, but I don't remember what it was. So straight out the gate, the Togetic does nothing. So I'm not going to care about it. I'm just going to put it to sleep and bring out a more offensive Mon. No, I put the Dusclops to sleep just because I'm afraid of the Trick Room. But I'm just going to Parting Shot out here, get some really good initiative. Do I actually Snarl? Sorry, this game, I played this game a little while ago. Just getting to record the audio on my side. But yeah, he ends up going into Arachnid. If I would have parting shot there, that would have been really nice. As he does just go for the follow me, it doesn't really matter. I am just going to Snarl here and then Sleep Powder the Togetic. If I don't miss, I don't remember. I know I missed one in this entire match, but I don't know if it was in game 1 or game 2. No, so I hit that one. So Togetic now can't go for follow me's. That's not a big deal. Like I said, I'm not really worried about it. I could honestly KO that thing pretty quickly if I wanted to. But now he has Arachnid out, and I'm kind of terrified. My Vileplume has no speed investment. It is max HP, max defense, I think. I'm not for sure. But I don't think this Arachnid can do too much damage. But here's the turn I actually do end up parting shot out. I am going to go out into the Silvally. Silvally Electric, from what we see now, really wrecks his team with the Arachnid, the Togetic, and the Crawdaunt. And then I have rock coverage on 3 of my Mons. So I know that his 2 main offensive threats, being the Arachnid and the Torkoal, kind of don't want to take a rock move. So here, I just parting shot out, and it turns out I am going to be faster than the Arachnid. I didn't think I would. I thought he would kind of speed creep just a little bit, but he ends up not as I go out into my Silvally, as it has multi-attack and rock slide with crunch. So I really hit all my bases on the Silvally set. And Silvally is one of my favorites. Oh, here's the Sleep Powder I end up missing. As we go for a Leech Life, I was kind of afraid of this until I seen the damage, and I wasn't too impressed. I was expecting that to do way more than it did. So here I do just go for the Sleep Powder. As I go for multi-attack here, I was thinking about Rock Sliding, but I said, nah, let's just get this Arachnid out of the way. I was not expecting this to actually kill this Arachnid at all. I had no idea that this would kill straight out the gate. Spoiler warning, it demolishes this Arachnid, and it surprised the heck out of me. And when I was talking to one of my buddies, he was also very surprised that it killed. And then we ran some calcs, and turns out it does just straight up kill a max HP Arachnid, because we are expecting him to be max HP, max attack, maybe with a little bit of speed to outspeed Vileplume outside of Trick Room. But as you see here, that was a monstrous attack. At first I thought it was a crit, but nothing popped up. So now I know going into game 2, Silvally's kind of key. And here the Togetic ends up waking up, goes for Last Resort as its last move, which won't work unless you use all the moves you have. So we're guessing he didn't click Protect, or he might have when he was sleeping and thought it would work. I'm not quite for sure. But here, so we know he has his Dusclops, Togetic. We don't know what his 4th Mon is quite yet. But at this point, I'm not too terribly worried as long as I hit my Sleep Powders. I know that's not a great way of playing the game, but I just need to hit my Sleep Powders. That is honestly the main way to stop him from setting up his Trick Room and getting a sweep. Because Torkoal is still a huge threat. Torkoal in the sun can still do a lot of damage. And here we thought about maxing. We decided against it. It's not a huge deal. And we don't want to waste it if we don't have to, because if we need to switch in and end up having to take a hit from a Torkoal, I need a defensive Dynamax in order to do so. So we do just multi-attack here, and turns out it also kills a Togetic. Which I think the Togetic might not have been Eviolite, just because you can't duplicate items in VGC. So either the Dusclops or the Togetic is actually carrying the Eviolite. And based on that damage, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't run the calc just because I didn't really care to. It's a Togetic. But that was still surprising. And then we end up hitting our Sleep Powder. So again, he can't set up Trick Room. Out comes the Torkoal here. I think this is actually the last turn of this game. I think he just concedes, not wanting to show what he is, which we'll find out in game 2. So this actually was a relatively good forfeit for him. I think he forfeits here? No. No, never mind. He might forfeit next turn. I think I actually end up critting him, which is kind of sad. But he did set the sun for us now, so Vileplume is the fastest thing on the field. And we're just going to kind of throw some sleep powders at Torkoal. I hate that I played this way because this is not my play style. But a win is a win, and I'm going to take it when I can. So now Torkoal's asleep. His whole field's asleep. And we can just kind of go to work here. Max Rockfall comes off. Does about a little more than half. I would say about 60% to the Torkoal. And then we set the sun. So now I know the Torkoal can't really do anything. Even if it's choice specs, the eruption, there's no sun. He's low on health. So now we just kind of sit here and let the game progress. I believe this is actually where he ends up just forfeiting. Because the Dusclops really can't do anything damage-wise. And like I said, I don't remember. I recorded this game, or played this game a couple days ago. And I know this Rockfall is going to end up killing, and then all he'll have is the Dusclops. Yeah, he ends up canceling the game there. So I am just going to fast forward into this next game. So I bring the same 4, but I reverse lead. I end up leading the Vileplume Silvally because that worked so well. It honestly did most of the work in game 1, and I'm expecting him not to lead his Trick Room right out the gate, just because he did see the taunt and the fake out, which in hindsight, if I would have led Gallade Persian, it would have worked out fine. As you see here, when the leads come out, Gallade Persian would have had a field day, because I would have just straight up just Dynamax, set up the beat up on the Gallade, and I would have just went in. So I kind of counter led based on him not wanting to bring his Trick Room, but in hindsight, it honestly didn't matter. I know this multi-attack will kill the Araquanid, and I just sleep out of the Araquanid. I'm not quite for sure what Stonejourner does. I've never used it, never really battled against it, so I'm not too afraid of it. I know that its HP and special defense isn't great, so I'm kind of for sure that it's not going to do much in terms of damage or anything else to like my Vileplume. I was kind of afraid after this because now I double attacked the Araquanid. I expected the Araquanid to be AV. Turns out it's not. I'm guessing it's like Splash Plate or something. But he goes for the Rock Polish, which I'm not running any speed, so he's already faster than both of my Mons anyway, but he didn't know that. So we end up just double targeting in. I said, okay, if you have max ground, GG, let's go to game 3. But I'm going to make kind of the similar move. I'm expecting him to actually Dynamax the Stonejourner, since it did just set up the Rock Polish. Like I said, I don't know what it does. I don't even know if it gets ground coverage. I'm pretty sure it should. It's a rock type. Most rock types do end up getting ground coverage. But we do kind of sit here for a while. And then turns out he is just going to Dynamax. And it is going to be the Stonejourner. Surprise, surprise. And right here, I'm expecting a max ground. I'm expecting a max ground, and I'm expecting one of my Mons to die, or at least come super, super close. But instead here, he goes for the max Rockfall. Like I said, I don't know if it gets ground coverage. My team in particular isn't really weak to ground, so it would make sense that he didn't have it, but I was still expecting it. And my Vileplume actually ends up living. So I do just go for the multi-attack, end up knocking out the Araquanid. As here I actually hit the Sleep Powder, which was huge and will end up being very big here in the next couple of turns. So the Stonejourner is asleep. It does have a special defense boost, which might be what it was going for like a Giga Drain or something. But Vileplume's pretty low. And I believe he goes out into Torkoal. No, he goes out into his Dusclops. So I kind of have to let him get Trick Room up here. I could have tried to sleep the Dusclops, but I was expecting Ally Switch potentially. So here, as you see, I am kind of thinking about doing the Sleep Powder play, but then I think to myself, I don't care if Trick Room goes up. I have enough bulk. Let's just strength sap the Stonejourner, because if he goes for Trick Room, Dusclops is the slowest thing, and Stonejourner is the fastest thing, so I'm still moving in a progression where I'm moving second and third. So I don't care too much. I am just going to go for a crunch here. You'll see in the next couple turns, multi-attack actually does more damage than the crunch, and I wasn't expecting it to. Turns out when I was calcing it wrong, because it doesn't account for stab. Because technically it's a normal move, but it does change typing based on what type the Silvally is. So it's always stab, but it didn't count it in the calc. So it turns out I didn't need crunch on this set at all. Could have ran like Swords Dance or something. But here, and now I'm just gonna Sleep Powder. No. Yeah, I Sleep Powder the Dusclops. It's not really an offensive threat to me at all, but if it does have Ally Switch or whatever, because I am expecting the Torkoal to be in the back, I need that thing asleep. I can't be having Ally Switch shenanigans while I'm trying to close out this game. As we do see the Will-O-Wisp, it does miss, which is unfortunate. I don't think it would save him the game, but it would have saved his differential a little bit. I don't want to say I won this game because of hacks, because I feel like I would have won this game anyway. As you see, that's a lot of damage from a multi-attack. But the Dusclops would have been put to sleep anyway. My Silvally just wouldn't have done as much damage. It would have done half that. So it didn't really end up mattering. But as the Stonejourner comes down now, I can just Sleep Powder or Giga Drain it. I don't know if it'll kill. I know it has crap special defense. So I do end up doubling it because, like I said, I'm not worried about the Dusclops. And it actually ends up just one-shotting, which I was really surprised. This is kind of an offensive Vileplume, but I still wasn't expecting this to actually kill. And it wasn't a crit, but I guess Stonejourner's special defense is really just that bad. And then with the redirection from Stonejourner dying, I end up just taking out the Dusclops. And his last mon is going to be Torkoal. But I want to talk about this Silvally. We drafted this Silvally 5th overall, and I wanted it just because I knew some of the VGC mons that were a hot commodity are kind of unique to its type. And there's not many good flying types or anything like that. So if we needed a typing that we didn't have, well, we just have Silvally. We didn't bring it in the first 2 weeks, and I was just like, all right, I'm afraid of Araquanid. I'm afraid of Crawdaunt. Let's just bring it. Let's see what it can do. And needless to say, I am very impressed with its damage output and just how versatile the mon can be and how much of a prepping nightmare it could be for the opponent, because you don't know what type it's going to be. Unless you have a big glaring weakness, you really just don't know. Here, I am trying to save differential. I know it's kind of crap, but I do go out into my most specially defensive mon I have, which is the Gallade, which isn't AV this week, which ended up costing me a differential point. But I do just max my my Silvally, just trying to get the game over as quick as possible. I know this will do at least half or a little more than half, and then I can take it out in the following turn, because then Trick Room is going to be up. This is his last turn of Trick Room, as Gallade does end up living, but not enough to live from the Sandstorm. So I am going to lose a differential point, so that's not a huge deal. But the sand goes up, so no more sun. Trick Room's over, and the game's pretty much over. The crit doesn't matter because I know I could two-shot this thing anyway. And this is where the burn kind of matters in the loosest sense of that term, because my Silvally wouldn't have been able to do that much damage to the Torkoal if it was burned, but it still would have done a lot because granted, yeah, that was a crit, so I'd probably be doing about 25 to 30. And then he's outside of Trick Room. I do it again with the fake out from here. And with the Gallade dying, I don't think it matters because he still does get that +1 differential point. But that does end up being the game. The key to this game was really me stopping Trick Room. If I didn't stop Trick Room, I think I would have just ended up losing in game 1. Game 2, he didn't lead his Trick Room. I didn't expect him to, and we kind of countered that appropriately. But needless to say, GG to my opponent. That was a really good match. Very, very dominating from Silvally. I honestly wasn't expecting that to be the MVP of the match, but it kind of was, as well as the Vileplume. But yeah, if you guys enjoy this, please don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. Go ahead and leave a comment. What could I have done differently? What would you like to see? What could I have brought differently? Just some tips. I'm usually down there talking to my comment section anyway. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.